My name is Brooke Paul. I'm 47 years old. I grew up in Grinnell, Iowa, and graduated from Grinnell High School in 1991. I went to Southern Iowa University and earned a degree in mass communications in 1995. During my college years, it became clear to me that I was meant to be an investigative journalist. All through college, I worked at the Jabberwocky, the SIU student newspaper. I also worked at the college TV station, cable TV station, Cable 99, where I specialize in uncovering the stories behind the story, the gritty, in-depth reporting that shows the true motivation for an action. In fact, during my senior year, when I was the editor of the paper, the Jabberwocky won what is the student equivalent of a Pulitzer Prize for some investigative work we did on unfair working conditions for adjunct faculty. It really was a shame that some of those faculty members ended up getting fired for talking to me and other reporters, but it really helped me learn that sometimes you have to make sacrifices to get a story. Plus, it was that work that earned my acceptance into the University of Missouri School of Journalism, arguably among the finest J schools in the nation. I received my MS in journalism. I continued on at Mizzou to achieve a PhD in media studies. I spent 20 years working as a reporter for various news organizations. I left the daily grind in 2020 to write a book about my journalistic experiences, specifically about how I was involved in the recovery of the stolen Ron art. I also began to study the nature of broadcast media more closely. Really, as a fluff piece, I wrote and published an article that later became a book, that later became a New York Times bestseller, that propelled me into a career of traveling the country doing TED Talks, appearances on various shows, and keynoting conferences and seminars. That bestseller, 8 Things Everyone Should Know About Television, is a tract about the simple truths of TV and is applicable to other media. Let me summarize a few of the main points most relevant to this discussion. The first thing that everyone should understand is that television is a business, and as such, its primary focus is providing a return on investment. In short, it exists to make money. Now, television may inform, enlighten, amuse, and entertain, but the bottom line is the bottom line. Every news program, even news programs, are not just about the news. In fact, the news shows freely admit they think of themselves as entertainers more than journalists. The second key is the knowledge that all television is planned and programmed. Obviously, carefully scripted dramas or comedies have teams of writers to create stories that will attract viewing audiences for the commercials and advertisements that make the networks money. But even live shows are manipulated by what directors and producers show or don't show and by specific camera angles employed. Accompanying music, color schemes, establishing shots, crowd reactions all enter into the equation of how to create an attractive narrative to a viewing audience, who will watch the commercials and advertisements that make the networks money. These editorial decisions may seem simple, but, in fact, have been perfected over time by extensive market research. Third, and perhaps most importantly in this instance, is that television success relies entirely on emotion. TV succeeds when viewers feel something. Whether it's the elation of a sports team victory, fear of an unknown threat, suspense over whodunit, or a sense of empathy for a particular character, when the viewing audience experiences emotion, the product sells. And so, we have the field of reality TV, which purports to simply show real people engaging in real actions and interactions. Let's clear up one major misconception real fast. Reality TV is not the same as real life on TV. Real life on TV would involve tracking individuals in their daily lives with constant camera and microphone surveillance. The best example of this might be the film The Truman Show. However, as soon as the subject knows they are on camera, reality is disturbed, and they begin to act and engage in a different way. Perhaps more self-consciously, perhaps more for effect. The knowledge of a camera alters reality. Also, as soon as an editor or director begins to make decisions on how to package and finish raw footage into something different, it's no longer real life. Those technicians make value judgments about what to include and what to cut, what themes to play up and which to downplay or ignore. It's no longer reality, but someone else's packaging of reality to create a message and spur emotional response and sell advertisements. I think television viewers know this deep down, but they're willing to suspend their disbelief for hours at a time to be entertained and drawn in by the emotions portrayed on the screen. And that's really the magic behind the success of reality television. The creation and tremendous success of the show Survivor in 2000 spurred an entire new genre of television programming, the reality TV game show. Survivor was followed by shows like Big Brother, Amazing Race, American Idol, and The Apprentice, which all offered a grand prize to a winner of the show after multiple votes to reduce the field of competitors. While technically a modern-day game show, these programs offer so much more. The real focus is not on the success or failure of the contestants in the game themselves, but rather on the interactions between participants. Viewers get sucked in by the emotional backstories, intrigue, unexpected plot twists, and the interplay of contestants. They cheer when their favorite succeeds, and mope, or even get angry when their chosen contestant is eliminated. Reality TV has absolutely figured out how to manipulate the emotions of its viewing audiences. And that's okay. As an avid viewer of reality programs myself, I enjoy being taken on that journey, but at the end of the day, I do understand I'm being taken for a ride. Reality shows come and go. The Survivors and Big Brothers of the world are rarities. As Americans, we love our reality TV. We love to play the voyeur and spy on the real lives of contestants, but we also demand to be entertained by variety. Most reality shows are canceled after, or even in the middle of, its first season. If a show can make it past that first season, then the average life expectancy is anywhere from 3 to 7 seasons. In TV time, that's a good long run. One advantage of reality programs, and perhaps the primary reason they now heavily populate the airways, is that they are relatively cheap to produce. A traditional television drama program costs approximately $5 million to $7 million per hour to produce. Comedies cost even more than that per hour. For a traditional season of programs, approximately 22 episodes, the networks are investing around $130 million to back a program. In comparison, the rumored contract between the BW Network and Prairie Storm Entertainment Group for $150 million over 5 years is a bargain. Now, the thing to remember about TV land is that when it comes to contracts, rarely is anything set in stone. The agreements are usually structured so that the networks can cancel anything on a whim. Failing ratings, controversial content, moral turpitude, they can always find an excuse. When a show gets canceled early on its contract, the production company can expect to suffer great financial losses. The freedom on that a long-term contract brings is that the producers can begin to plan and prepare long-term. Once canceled, all of those sunk costs are lost. Even if there is a settlement agreement to pay a portion of the contract upon termination, the production team is usually the biggest loser. In this instance, PSEG initially signed a trial deal. with the BW network. The success of year 1 resulted in another 1-year contract. When season 2 was even more successful and showed plans for continued growth, the BW offered a 5-year deal for the Prairie Storm. That 5-year extension was worth in the neighborhood of